telling me?
We're going. Please
Just
do.
sharing a
Yeah.
similar
Oh
orchestrated
my
like kind of
God,
rhyming pattern
Jesus.
around what your impact was in connection with Brian here. I mean, he's made a big difference already just in showing how high level he can think for a lot of the world.
No, but how he has great high level thinking. I totally agree with you. What kind of impact is that having on your life?
Right
Rocks
now,
are
it
hard,
helps frame
water is
everything.
wet. No, point to something in your life, Alton, something real rather than a thought form that he's had an influence on.
How I choose my conversation topics or how I choose to think about people who attend things like watch parties or things outside of my locus of control. That's like how I allocate
Hey,
my time. That's like very relevant. And like whether or not I'm going to this event later tonight, I'm like, oh, I don't think I want to go to this event later tonight, largely informed based off of how I experience Ryan's. Just like, oh yeah, here's his criteria of how he thinks about how to spend
if
time.
you were telling me that I'm going to speak as Alton, maybe, you know what? Going to that event tonight, I will bet you that there's going to be a lot of people talking, and I'm not going to have a tingle in my balls once. And I know that if I stay here for this show, that I'm going to get at least 4 tingles. And I value tingles. You know? I want to, if I go out for a good time with Norman, I have a really strong belief story that I'm going to be able to taste what it is that Norman is as a person. I don't think I'm going to get that if I go out and have a good time with Brian. Alton either, probably. Lots of good ideas, lots of good talky, lots of theories, lots of whatever. Norman's going to say, hey, come on in here. And I'm going to go, there's 2 tables in there. And he's like, but you have, wait till you try the dumplings. These dumplings are fucking insane. Or whatever it is. But he's going to expose something about Norman rather than his thought processes. Yeah. I've never done I've never done dumplings anally. That's a whole nother thing there. I don't know if I want to go there.
Gotta try it.
No, I
It's a high
don't.
bar. Yeah. Yeah. I can see why we're being compared to Norman. It's a very high bar. This is I've never consumed dumplings with mayonnaise, so I'm gonna reframe the so I'm okay, I'm trying to get a sense of because there's a comparison between Alton and myself versus Norman, and you're saying Norman is
Mhm.
more embodied. You're gonna get a sense of who he is by what he does.
No,
And
if
we're
I'm
gonna talk
interacting
about it.
with him,
Yeah.
he's going to be more embodied.
Okay.
We have an agreement. All right.
Okay.
I don't. In the rest of his life, he could be as talking head as the rest of you guys. I don't know. I just know that when he and I interact, my story is that there's an agreement that he's like, I'm going to come and I'm going to be more embodied.
And then
And he usually shows up kind of floaty. And then I make some sort of racist or homophobic or some sort of awful remark, and he drops right down, and there he is. He's beautiful, delightful, erudite, and very funny, very entertaining. He's very tasty.
embodied, but we're coming back to embodied. And you're saying embodied is dropping down, being tasty, not being in one's head, being.
You can be intellectually tasty, and I'm sure that you and Alton can sit down and talk about, generative economies or whatever, and both of you are getting little tiny erections about it. But you can't bring a full big old sexual erection to an intellectual party because that's not allowed.
Brian, are you like a deep or like a shallow thruster?
I tend to go pretty deep. My MO would be just to go in and like kind of move around inside.
Could you like do that now?
Do it right now. So like metaphorically fuck you all right now, with deep thrust, not shallow thrust.
I'd be interested in that.
Sure.
Alton has
Yeah,
gone
I guess.
polite face.
Well, yeah, I mean, deep thrust wise, I feel a lot of anger, but this is an
What
emotion,
if
so
what
I
if
don't
what if you did it instead of explaining it to me?
did it in
Just
Zoom.
Just be angry.
Just make me feel what you want me to feel.
Make you feel what I want you to feel.
Your anger. Up and to the left. Oh boy.
Are you?
You notice
Are
nobody
you
ever
asking
looks
me to
down
be
and to the right.
angry? Are you asking me to be angry at you? Like what? What is the request? Is it a request?
I want to feel your anger.
Right now, I don't feel anger, so I don't. I mean, I don't want to be
Well,
inauthentic.
that's why we're here, right? Like we're
Yeah.
trying on different acting out different.
I actually don't know why we're here. So this is why we're here. Then that helps. So which is totally fine. I'm all game for
It's like
learning
I
what
relate to it as like
the
method
dojo is.
acting to get you more of the
Yeah.
life you want to live by having Cray
Okay.
evoke different versions of you, often by poking you.
Want to see?
Okay, we could do that.
And
Yeah.
Ben. Aw. You just muted yourself. I don't know if you intended to, Ben.
Benjamin,
I
make
don't know
sure
if I
that the
intended to
sound
be
is
not
turned
here.
off.
Yeah, exactly.
Muting yourself doesn't make the sound go away.
You're speaking and you're muted? I don't. All right.
Is he? Yeah, he is.
I hope you're
He's
not driving,
muted.
man.
He's
He
driving.
is driving.
With the
Benjamin,
baby.
you have a small
Watch out.
child in the car. Turn off the phone.
I
Pay
know.
attention to driving.
I'm in bumper to bumper traffic. So
I don't care.
It's
You have a small child in the car.
yeah, this is Layla. Say hi.
Layla, I would tell you a bunch of things that your caregiver there is doing very wrong, but you wouldn't understand. Benjamin, I'm an old man. I have a Jewish grandmother street. Please, at least mute the visuals.
Okay. Well, hi and bye.
Bye. Jesus Christ.
There he goes. All right.
Nothing like being
And then
shamed on an open frickin' Facebook feed. Works most of the time.
I mean, okay. We're gonna ask some juicy questions, and I hear that format. Yeah, I didn't know he was driving right now. Okay.
I have been an EMT, Alton. I have been to too many scenes. I have seen too many dead kids. Nobody intends to kill their children in a traffic accident.
I'm gonna write that to him now.
Good. Cray's not just an asshole. He's seen what happens. He's having a trauma response. That's good. Having fun, Brian? You look entertained.
I look. Hopefully, I look what I am, which is feeling like a little bit like, huh. There's a part of me trying to figure out what's going on.
Mm.
Yeah. So I'm a little.
The talking heads usually do.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, we're in the format of talking heads, so I have a hard time being otherwise. If we were in person together, we would be, I guess, more embodied. But I still don't actually know what we're doing, but that's okay. I think it's evolving. I hear that we're poking at our emotions or our ideas of ourselves to elicit a response.
To expand your baseline vocabulary, skill set, and dance moves.
Okay.
In service of living more of the life you want to live. If you're not already living exactly the life you want to live in every meaningful area of your life.
Okay.
I think of it as connecting across a wider range of motion.
Emotion.
Those-
You said motion or emotion?
Range of motion.
Range of motion. Range of motion. Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. It's broad. Broad, but okay.
yeah.
Like right now, you're showing up from here, your head, but I'm like,
Yeah.
where is Brian from his heart, from his gut, from his pelvis? I'm not getting any of those flavors.
Okay. Trey's having a good time trying to figure out.
No, this
Tom's
is
trying to
a-
figure it out.
You don't know how many times I've been through this exact same scenario with so many adolescent masculines, independent of bodily
Yeah.
age.
Yeah.
Like,
I just-
could you like ruffle your hair and blow raspberry? Yeah, so like
Yeah, raspberry?
I
Yeah.
feel like there's more you in this moment than before.
Oh, okay. I'll just do it again. That's this is not a problem.
Well, it's such that it like organically arises from you in connection.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that you were the type of person where that would like more easily and organically arise confers a whole different life and like a branching set of universes that I have it that where people are more alive and present with each other.
Okay. Well, that's fine. Like it feels like if we met in person, it would be a very different experience. Zoom is not the experience, not the format. Maybe I'm blaming the format, but it feels like
Yes, you are.
in person. Thank you. It feels like in person, I would be much more evocative of that because there is a depth to me. I could get in your face. I could get around you. I will dance around you. I will move. Ultimately, see me. I dance constantly. I'm moving constantly. I'm talking to people while I'm moving. So in this format, I mean, I could do it.
I think it'd be really welcome here.
On and off camera. What's that?
I think it'd be very welcome here. I imagine we would all feel you more.
Why not?
And it's simply like it's in service of something. And
Yeah. It's simply moving. You're just going to see me less. That's fine. I'll be out here. I have my AirPods in. We'll talk. Okay. Let's go.
Ray, what are you tracking? You look really much more focused now.
It's the shirt, it's the pants, it's the tat, it's the watch.
Good.
It's how he's moving.
What else you got?
Nothing. It's just the pixels.
What's your assessment? Are you going to hold up a number? What is it? Do I get a score?
So now he's getting really sarcastic.
No,
And so it's almost like when he's
No, I'm legitimately curious. Well, sarcasm
I
is off
don't
the table.
care
Sarcasm
whether
over there.
this is my interpretation. I'm not telling you what you're doing. I'm telling you this is my read on it. It's my interpretation.
Okay.
And so it's like when he stands up and gets mobile, he gets more dangerous. And so when he's sitting in a chair, he's not dangerous. He's very mild. He's no sarcasm. And so it's like, okay. So this is a person who, if we're starting off in kindergarten and we want to taste him better, we're going to we're not going to let him sit down and talk about himself.
I guess there's different contexts where I'm gonna suss out the situation. I mean, is the paradigm that one will act how they always act regardless of situation? That seems unskillful. I think
Yeah, you're acting pretty unskillful right now.
Well, whatever that means. Yeah, if I come into a new situation, I don't know you, then I think it's my MO is generally to observe what's happening here, to get a feel.
Yeah, that is your character's MO. You don't have to do that. You can cannonball in.
I can. Yeah.
Yes, you could.
Right.
Yeah. There's that cost assessment there.
Which is innate. What's wrong with that?
There's nothing the matter with it. It's just like, why? It's like, why don't you look at yourself and say, what do I get to be and feel because I get to cannonball rather than what I always do?
I don't think you know me. I cannonball quite a bit.
Well, I have evidence to the contrary.
What's that? Oh,
Evidence to the contrary.
Sure. The end of one of this conversation is that you saw me show up a certain way.
Yep.
So
That's what I have
there
to
are many
work
other-
with.
Of course.
And
But
you can
that's-
cherry pick any kind of story you want to tell me about how you show up differently in XYZ, PDQ. They may or may not be true. And the point is, show up now differently in alignment with, like this is the place I want to hear about what your business proposals look like.
Business
Yeah.
proposal. I don't have a business proposal.
Whatever, regenerative, non-rapage of the, the universe, whatever, extractive.
I don't like extracting and raping the universe. Right. So that's
Well, what if the
that is a
universe
moment.
wants to be raped?
What if the universe wants to be raped? I would get the impression it did. I think I would sense that the universe wants to be raped.
Yeah,
don't
I
get
bet
that
you the
impression.
women you dance with like you being polite too, I imagine, if you're cisgendered.
I am cisgendered. I am heterosexual, and yeah, my sex life is actually really good. Yeah.
Given how you show up, I might. If Norman's telling me that his sex life is good, I'm going to say, whoa, that's something. He sets a really high bar. Looking at you in your tie-dyed shirt and and all the rest of it, I'm like, my prejudice says you have a really low bar for sexuality.
Great. What are the signifiers of that,
But who?
Brian, or anybody? But like you're bringing it to Brian right
His
now. So
hair.
you're making a
His
assertion.
tat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so
his
what do you-
watch, his
Because his hair is a
glasses.
certain way, you make up that he has like a less.
It's how he's holding it.
Can
How
you
am I
be
holding
more
it?
specific?
If Norman was wearing that exact same shirt, he would be occupying it very differently. Norman knows that he's on display as a party favor all the time.
As a party.
Right? As an engagement. Yes. And he's very clear about the style. Now, if you look at Norman, if you look at Brian, and you're just going off the pixels, what kind of sex do you think he has? Does he look like a trapeze artist? Does he look like a really funky, animalistic bestiality kind of guy? No, he looks pretty. He's read through the Kama Sutra, but he stays on pages 1 through 4. Beating and whipping is probably not.
Not into bestiality, though. You had that right.
Have you tried it?
No.
Well, how do you know?
What?
Yeah, you're right. I haven't tried it. I don't know.
Yeah, so you're a bigot.
Am I a bigot?
You're
Well, no, I
placing
just said I
your
wasn't-
preconceived ideas about what it is and saying, I won't like that.
Well, I know. Just said I'm not into it. But I guess
Same
that's. I just haven't done it. Yeah, you're right. I haven't done it.
And the way he says heterosexual, he's like, I'm dying on this hill.
Did I say it a way that implied? What did it imply?
It implied that you're like, I am heterosexual. I'm happy with this. I'm not getting off this hill. This is my sexuality hill, and here I will die.
Well, no, I've had homosexual experiences with multiple groups and people of all orientations. So I
And?
just I prefer women. And so when I say
Your
I'm heterosexual-
character prefers women.
okay. So what makes my dick hard is women.
No.
And
What
when
makes
I'm-
your character's dick hard?
Oh, what's the difference?
You're a point of consciousness. Technically, you don't have a dick. You learned, you grew up, and you were taught certain things and were exposed to certain things and had mini makings about certain things. And you're like, oh, this is not. I'm heterosexual. I like women. You're not sitting back and saying, wait a minute. I've been programmed to like women. There is nothing in me that is different than Norman genetically. And he's as far as my meaning making, he swings a wide path.
There's nothing genetically different between me and Norman. I can look at Norman
In terms of sexuality.
In terms of sexuality, what is that? You're saying there's another genetic component, or what?
There's not a genetic component to sexuality in my world.
In your world, okay.
You can learn to appreciate anything.
Well, if I've told you that I have experimented with it and I don't really jive with it, then what does that mean?
That means your character doesn't jive with it. Your character is like, I will experiment and I will bet I'm going back that way. That's fine. It's okay. It's not a bad thing.
So, am I understanding that in your world, I have to land in a certain place? And that means I'm open to all expressions?
Nope.
Without reservation? Or what does it mean?
Nope. It doesn't.
What does it mean?
I'm just pointing out that you're assuming that your character is you. You're speaking as if the character is real. And it's not just a script that you're being paid to act out. I was telling you this beforehand. People believe that their thoughts and their emotions, their meaning making, are somehow real, like rocks are hard and water is wet. They're not. They're learned. You can learn to play any role that you want. You probably won't get it right the first couple dozen times.
How do we create experiential environments for Brian or others to actually like live this and experience this? So like, I mean,
all you have to do is you have them fill out a sheet about their preferences and their non-preferences, right? And you make it a very long thing. And then as you're stepping into this, oh my goodness, we can learn anything. You could say, hey, how about trying out your food fetishes or your clothing clothing's a really easy one. You take Brian, I don't know, I'm just making this up. And I say, Norman, I want you to take him to Gucci's. Okay. I don't know what I'm talking about. Whatever. A really great suit place. Old-fashioned suits, Norman. I want him decked out in the top of the line, that thing. Then you're going to take a picture of him, and that's the exercise. And then you get to look at that picture and you can say, who is this character? That's not something that I normally dress in, but what would this character vote like I vote? Would it eat the same food I eat? Would it find the same people attractive? It's a really easy exercise. You don't have to buy the clothing. Take Brian into a Victoria's Secret. Dress him up in a trans outfit. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make any difference. You're just trying to expand.
So that would give him more access to, like, how can he be a motivated buyer to see what's available on the other side of that? Because I can imagine all of us are like, yeah, we can sit here and nod our heads, but there's some deeper access that you're gesturing.
All you're trying to do is show people that their heads aren't going to explode if they step out of character. That's the first thing that you're doing. And if you want to paint a picture, get a bunch of videos or a bunch of testimonials about people who found something really wonderful when they stepped out of their traditional character viewpoints.
Yeah. What would go in like a video montage trailer? Because I want to make a video sales letter for this type of work. Like what type of shots would you have Brian in or Norman or other?
Alton, have you seen Everything Ever All at Once?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Do you remember the scene where Evelyn just oscillates between every universe, like every frame? That would be the montage.
But that's not going to give anybody. If you put Brian like this, then you put him in a straight up business suit. Then you put him in drag. Then you put him in something that's more masculine, but not a business suit. And he has a little description of who that character is under each one. And you can do a simple thing like, you can have Brian say, you know what? I thought this was a bullshit experience, but when I'm in drag, I'm a vegetarian. It's really weird. I mean, it would be easy to do. You have a bunch of people there that like drama, men and women. You could all do that on a web page, and it would be chock full, and you would get lots of views because people like people being dramatic.
Okay. I mean, I could use AI engines to generate different versions of avatars of us, like dresses or whatever it is.
If they find out you're using AI to do it, they're not going to be. That's going to lessen, in my world, that's going to lessen the attractiveness.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Or I could actually do real shoots too, but yeah. Okay. So how do I mean, I have it that Brian represents like somebody who has achieved a good chunk in the material world, and now it's like, well, what do I want to do with all this? And
yeah, but to me, he has no vocabulary about anything other than the business world.
No, I mean,
asking him what his next thing is, he presents another business plan.
as opposed to,
I'm going to learn to walk like Norman. Because I have watched Norman walk down the street, and he dresses in the same sort of clothes I do, and he gets a lot of the kind of attention that I've always wanted. Most of your talking heads are going to shy away from doing any sort of work on themselves. They're used to having it be about being a manager of a synthetic meat plant or whatever that is. So how do you get masculine and feminines, how do you get them into an embodied space that their talking head status tries to keep them out of?
when Brian's looking up and out and around the room, how can I bring him more back into the space in between us, or like in his belly or his body?
Well,
Definitely
you
my
would point.
body. I'm enjoying hearing the stories about me. It's actually very entertaining. So I can feel it resonate through my body. It's quite an interesting, fun, sensual experience. So thank you for that. Yeah.
You would probably want to introduce him to eye gazing, and you would.
Why do you assume I haven't done it? I guess a lot of stories about me. A lot of stories about me for knowing me for less than an hour.
Yeah.
You know a lot
wow,
about
imagine
me.
that.
How do you know all this about me?
I don't. I'm making it up. It's a story.
Right.
Yeah, I think Craig's way of getting to know somebody is he like Cunningham's law, where you just like make a bunch of wild assertions and then you see which ones they correct, and then you learn very quickly about them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
So Alton, you want to find out what his triggers are.
Mm-hmm.
And then you want to have him sit down and eye gaze with somebody that is an authority figure for him.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to have him talk about his triggers and maintain eye contact. All you're trying to get him to do is to experience that his head doesn't actually explode. That is it's actually a turnoff for most non-adolescent masculine talking heads. When you're talking to them and you start looking up into the corners of the room as if there's answers up there. That's a habit. It's a way of separating. It's a way of breaking contact. It's a safety move. Why am I looking in the corner of the room when I'm thinking? I don't need to look in a corner of a room to think. That's absurd.
Oh, there are trees out here. I think maybe this is helpful. They're actually really beautiful trees.
And how are
Let's
those
look at that.
helping you think?
They're beautiful. I'm looking at the beautiful trees.
Again, I can look at Norman and say that's beautiful, but I'm not looking at him when I try to think.
Helping me think. Helping me think. I'm looking at beautiful trees, and things
Okay.
emerge.
Okay.
What's the story of the production of? A lot of stories.
I'm talking about it from a social, in an American, or Northern European social schematics.
Yeah.
Looking up and away says I'm thinking about something important, and I'm going to break contact with you. Now, if you were in Japan, you wouldn't be doing eye gazing. It's very impolite. You ever have sex with somebody and have them say, "Will you please look at me? I'm right here." Yeah, exactly.
Exactly what?
I'm talking to your left eyebrow. I don't know if you're in conscious communication with your left eyebrow.
I don't know. I get the game. I get the game we're playing. I think I get the game.
No, you don't.
Whatever. There's a game. Okay, good. Yeah, you're right. I don't. Okay. Yeah. Let's keep going. That's great.
What? Craig, how can we? I want to run more successful like support groups for other people who are also in a similar stage where, yeah, they're like, "Hey, we did the company thing. Now, what I want to do with my life."
All you have to do, God, I don't just get Amber. You have a bunch of people there.
Yeah.
All you have to do is say, "Hey, every Thursday night, for those of you who don't know what ecstatic dance is or whatever, you're bringing them in and saying, hey, not only are we going to do some embodiment stuff, we're also going to debrief on it intellectually afterwards with cappuccinos."
Okay. All right. So.
You could all you have to do is explain the clothing dance. You're going to say, we're going to do that this Thursday. I used to take people down into the sewers underneath LA County, but I've come up with a new thing. You come up and we're going to try to pair you with somebody who dresses completely differently than you. And then you're going to go out. We'll have lunch for you when you get back. And your job is to let the other person dress you in 3 different costumes and take a picture. And then when you come back, we're going to put them through our printer, our color printer here. And you're going to have 3 different photos. And we're going to see how people react to you and how you react to yourself in different costumes. Can you imagine how much of a thrill Norman is going to get taking you to Victoria's Secret, Alton? He is going to talk about this for decades.
Oh. Norman face.
And the picture of you in your little crotchless panties with your little petticoat on and your little brassiere and your little feather boa, he's going to keep that one up on his mantle for a long time.
Uh-huh.
And Alton, you would have been in a group of people that see you dressed like a cowboy, dressed like a call girl, whatever bizarre things that Norman can come up with, and he's going to be working hard on it. All right? Stop looking at his butt, Norman. Jesus. Stop. Make it fun. Make them want to come back. Oh, another bald guy with a beard. taking over the planet.
Hey guys, what's up?
Hey,
Oh.
Okay.
Merrick. Merrick is on. Hi, Merrick. It's on.
Hey Brian,
How you doing?
Hosanna. Hosanna.
Zan.
Okay, well, some topics I'm interested in are how
Oh,
you relate to
God.
things that are actually in your locus of control or outside your locus of control. A topic
Hosanna.
so Marique has been also up to like high leverage, high impact things, and also has good community in the area. And I'd like to see how I can collaborate more effectively with him, given our different communication styles.
When you're done, please translate to Cray. Speak.
How do you get business partner, friends more into this world?
You give them the carrots.
Yeah, oh, I think Marique has got a lot of good carrots in this space. I think it's been making a big difference to my story.
Well, then ask him.
Okay, but
What would
based off
have
of
you?
your
What
guess,
would have you dive
your-
deeper, Merrick?
I think
Well,
just
please
like
come up
more,
with.
yeah, like more tangible strategies for like some of the places in my life that I'm experiencing difficulties and like actually seeing the results of that,
Like specificity?
like specificity. Like one would be like mental spiraling, and another one would be like showing up in
Like
conflict.
specificity?
Um,
How many different things can you mentally spiral about? A million.
mhm. Like interpersonal conflict.
With your mother, your father, your grandfather, with your partners, with your dogs, with the spirit world.
personal
When I see someone in an activated state, like and angry with me.
And what do you usually do when somebody is angry and activated and pointing at you?
Start to like try and figure out how I can serve them or make them feel better.
Okay, so let's just try doing the 180.
Mhm.
Yell back, be angry back. Only do this with people who know that they're in a gym. Don't do this with your grandmother or your father or your brother or your partner or whatever it is. Go
Mhm.
into a room and say, be angry at me, and I'm going to be angry right back at you.
Mhm.
Practice the muscle that you don't have.
Mhm.
Go on YouTube, get a video of however you identify about people who are close enough to you that it's reasonable, and see. I would like to be able to do that when somebody is yelling and screaming at me.
Mhm.
Pull a Dirty Harry move.
Mhm. Yeah, what if the goal is not to like necessarily be angry back? Like, are you suggesting that as a way to break out of the mental spiraling, or as
Yes,
like what I should?
that is a way, because when presented with the person, your coping skills say spiral right now, God damn it.
Mhm.
Because if you don't spiral, it's going to get horrible. And this is your history talking.
Mhm.
You might get punched in the face. That's true. But, you're in a gym
Yeah.
and you're like, hey, I've got to break out of this tiny monocultural response because it's fucking up my life in a big way. So I've got to get broader in my response. The easiest thing to do is to do the 180, the thing that your psychology says, no. When you got angry back at daddy, he beat the living hell out of you. And you're like, but Alton's not my father. But your psychopathology, he's male. He might as well be your father.
Mhm. Yeah.
And if that was a true scenario, I don't think if Alton's yelling at you and you yell back that he's going to pull off his belt and beat the ever-loving crap out of you.
Mhm. Yeah.
You have to practice. You have to practice breaking the definitions of your life that your history has provided you with.
Mhm. Okay.
And it's going to be messy.
Yeah. And like happy to practice that. I appreciate that suggestion. After kind of developing that skill,
You start at ground zero. Because what you're doing is you're saying sometimes force needs to be met with force. Jordan Peterson says if you're not capable of cruelty, you don't know how to deal with cruel people.
Hmm.
If you can't be an asshole, you're going to have a hard time dealing with the assholes in your life.
Mm. Okay.
So what you're trying to do is you're in psychobabble terms, when that little kid that you used to be raised his voice and got the crap beat out of him, he made that a blanket statement. So now you might have a hard time being passionate. Your sex life might be suffering because you have to do it in a non-threatening way. Your business, sales, sometimes you have to be aggressive.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you for the specificity.
No, appreciate the asks. Yeah, is there like happy to work with someone through that today in like a room? If there's someone who
That's up to
wants to be
Alton.
on the other side. With Alton?
No, that's
I can make
Alton's show.
breakouts.
Oh, it's Alton's show. Yeah.
I mean, you can come to my show. You can do whatever you want there, but
Yeah.
this is his show.
So what's the specific exercise here that you want to create?
Whenever you're doing an exercise, you hold a really tight time container. You say 5 minutes. You say, would you join me in a breakout room? I want to practice being angry back at somebody who's being angry at me. Okay. It doesn't have to be real. If it is real, that'll help. If you hate bald men with beards, yes, by all means, and I want you to be as angry as you can for 1 minute. Okay. I'll time it. I'll go. And then I am going to attempt to be angry back. And I'm going to try to do it for 4 minutes. I'm not going to last that long.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say, thank you very much. I'm not going to discuss it. It's an exercise. And then we're going to go back to the main room. That's it.
Okay. Yeah.
You got Brian, you got Norman. You got to convince them to go into a breakout room with you. Good luck.
Okay.
They're both highly emotional people.
Okay.
Very.
Yeah. Does anyone volunteer off the bat, or do you guys need more convincing?
Well, there's a great answer. So is this how it shows up normal? This is how your sales works in your real life?
Yes, I guess so. I guess this is
I guess
right.
so, yeah. Mm-hmm. So you're waiting for somebody to take pity on the little inoffensive hamster.
Mm-hmm.
I'm open.
How's that working for you?
Yeah. You're open to it, Norman?
I'm open to being convinced.
You're open to being convinced.
Jesus Christ. You're yeah. That's what I love about you, Alton, or Norman.
Yeah.
That's sexist.
Oh?
Norman, yeah, like are you experiencing any desire to like in your own life to express anger? It would be super helpful for me if we could go into a room.
Mark.
Yeah.
Or Merrick, sorry.
Okay.
All relationshiping is transactional.
Yeah.
You can stop trying to be polite and say, what's it going to cost me, Norman?
Okay. Yeah. What's it going to cost me?
I'd like to see your playfulness.
Okay. Yeah, any more specifics?
I want to see you shave your head.
You want to see me shave my head? Okay.
Do you use electric or a razor?
Electric.
Run, hurry, go, run. Are you in your house? Go get the razor, hurry, just go.
Okay.
Jesus.
Like,
go get your razor and bring it back.
I'm confused on this instruction. Okay, so okay.
Go get the razor. The electric razor. Oh. Fucking adolescent masculines. Jesus.
Wait, what's your relationship to patience as a teaching modality?
Masculines respond to competition.
You're saying everything is transactional. Is that everything is transactional?
Every human relationshiping is transactional.
What?
You're always paying something, you're always getting paid.
Can you be paid internally? Like if I
Of course.
love someone, for instance, I'm going to feel good about that.
Yes, you're paying yourself. Yeah. I'm going to bring you a cup of tea because I feel special when you say, oh, thank you, sweetheart.
But you don't even have to say anything back to me. Like I can just feel that without getting something back.
Yes, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're paying. You're getting paid.
So the transaction can be internal. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can imagine bringing them tea and maybe get paid less, but you don't have to do anything.
You're saying just an imaginary exercise of bringing somebody tea.
Yeah. I mean, imagine bringing your partner, your life partner, a cup of their favorite tea.
Mm-hmm.
And you can say, oh, God, they like me. Oh, I'm so special for having remembered. God, I'm a good guy.
Mm-hmm. You
don't even have to bring them anything.
Mm-hmm.
And you get $1 instead of $10.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're too tired to want to expend all that energy to get the $10 bill, and you'll just be satisfied with the $1 bill.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm.
How far away is his bathroom?
Big house.
He's got a lot.
He must be very successful.
Lot to work on.
I imagine he may have interpreted as to just actually go shave right now. It's like this.
Oh, you think so?
No. Oh, Jesus.
No, he wanted to see it. There was a voyeuristic aspect. I don't think he got that.
No.
Well, that's a shame.
He took his earplugs out, so he can't hear us.
Okay.
So you're able to help identify a practice for Marik in a very short window of time that he was all prepped to go into a breakout room for. That was like very impressive to me. How can I have that be more a day-to-day experience? So you mentioned you read people and you see what their 180 is.
We will always have breakout rooms ready for anybody who wants to do an exercise based on what the grumpy old man is talking about. Front load it.
Wow.
I don't see any breakout. There you go.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
Okay, hurry up.
Can we? Okay, I'm gonna move to a place where I can actually do this.
Yeah.
Norman, your eyebrows.
That's great.
Sorry. I was appreciating Norman's eyebrows as you were walking us around.
This is my level of arousal.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I
You want the whole thing?
I wish I could hear it, you know? the texture of the sound.
Norman, you want to be there shaving his head for him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool.
Is that enough, Norman? Just for these? I know
that is fantastic.
Okay, back you go. Go to a breakout room, have fun, get angry. Now you're lopsided, Merrick. You can't go out in public like this.
Put half a hat on.
Well, I'm going to represent Alton at this next event, so I can just play off as him.
Oh God!
The AI salon. All right.
Okay, put him in a room.
Which room?
Room 1 is cool. Let's do it.
Okay.
Hey, Cray, I don't know if you've been seeing some of the stuff on the hang thread too, but how do you deal with like significantly disproportionate amounts of input on a group thread.
I don't pay attention to it.
Okay.
I mean, the amount that certain people can write, the fish slapping that's going on, it's a public forum. They can do whatever they want. And you get to deal with it. And you can yell at them, you can scream at them, you can practice all kinds of things.
You consider it a public forum?
Within that context, of the people there.
Okay.
All you have to do, Alton, is look at it and say, oh, how can I use this to get stronger in something?
Right. Yeah.
That's all you have to do.
How do you have the conversations with people around, like, people don't like feeling used in similar ways? And it feels like I have to do this whole educational thing that, like, yes,
Yep.
but people also are already always doing this by default, and
Yep.
your allergy to it implies like a lack of experience in certain areas. I'm like,
Yep. Why? I tell you, I get tired of the same goddamn speech. You know how many times I've given that particular little speech?
yeah, I mean, do you have that dojo vocab sheet? And like, maybe again, there's still more. I want to set up more onboarding stuff. I have shared some of the onboarding, which I think I'm doing slightly better at, and I still have it that there's a lot more content that people could have front loaded, like the breakout rooms, like the improv frame.
Yes, you don't have the piece of paper here. Read this and sign it, and then you can come on my show.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I'm working on this week around a guided track that just takes people through everything they need to see to be.
Yeah, I know, but most people aren't going to do that. Most people are lazy. They're going to say, where do I sign? And they're going to say, you don't read the terms and conditions? No. Who reads? And you're like, I read every single one.
Yeah, I mean, guided track, it's the same program that Kit uses for her program. You like can't advance in it until you fill out like intelligent answers.
Yep. And she has people say, fuck this, I'm out of here.
Well, Brian, anywhere you want to go from here?
Brian? Oh. Yeah, I guess anger. Yeah. Anger's a good one. Maybe I should have joined him in the breakout room. A lot of anger that I feel and a lot of fear that I feel.
Imagine that.
Yeah. Yeah. So
sort of like the 180 of your self-possessed, I know what's going on face.
Right
Look
now,
at your pixels. Look at your pixels.
Yeah.
Does that look like a fearful face? Does that look like an angry face?
No.
No. Your psychology is very clear. You can feel these things. Don't show them. Do not let them know what's going on. For whatever its reasons are, we don't know. You can look at Alton when he's got lust running really hard. You'd never know it. There's not a woman in the world who's like, oh, he's lusting after me. No, it's nowhere. It's in a little card he hands them. Yes, ma'am, I'm lusting after you quite specifically now.
Maybe I'm curious, what? Expressing anger. Anger can be expressed in very violent and sometimes irreparable ways. So
as an adult, there's nothing that's not repairable. That's a kid's perspective.
You can kill someone with anger. People do.
Okay, granted. If you're going to go all the way out there, but just expressing your anger, that's not going to kill anybody. You have to take action to kill somebody.
Okay. So repairable in the context. Well, okay. So I am, I guess I do carry the story. I know I carry the story that expressing anger in too high of a dose can cause damage to a relationship. So if I'm feeling anger toward someone and I yell at them in a very angry manner, I can also sometimes say things that are really hurtful that would be
Yep.
best left unsaid.
Yep. And if you want to dance with developmentally retarded people the rest of your life, then fine. Wrap them in wool, treat them as like little wounded birds, and be very polite, and you can become East Asian. If you want to dance with people in a more embodied kind of way, people understand. I mean, we're human. We get angry. We yell at each other. It's part of the dance of being human. If you have a part that's going to be so wounded by somebody raising your voice, hey, you might want to go see a therapist about that. I'm not saying that if you're in church, act like you're in church. That's fine. But if you want to dance in an embodied human way with people, you can't take 50% of the bad stuff and say, we can't do this stuff. It's like circling. We welcome everything except bestiality and wanting to hurt people and la 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 la. You can't be offensive in circling, which I find really offensive. So there you go. Do you ever ask yourself, why are you finding people to be in relationship with that are quite okay with you not being angry? Your pattern is to find the people that aren't demanding your beast.
I guess I'm in leadership positions. I haven't found. I don't want to work for people that are consistently angry. They oftentimes
nobody
are,
is consistently angry without there being a pathological issue. Okay.
Okay.
People, emotions arise, they go away. We're not asking you to become a psychopathology around anger. But if you can't express anger every once in a while, what's the point?
What's the point of what? Of having anger?
Of being alive.
Okay.
One of the biggest compliments I ever gave my wife was we were in a parking lot one day, and I hated her more than I've ever hated any person in my entire life. And I've had lots of cause to be really hateful of people. But in that moment, I felt the most delicious. I wanted to kick her out of the moving car and watch her body tumble and break into a million pieces. And I got to share that with her. Do you know what it's like to be able to have a relationship where you can share the dark, ugly sides of yourself? She doesn't want me to do it, but she's like, oh, that's a very dark, ugly place in you. That's okay.
Well, this is what I'm asking. You're saying the expression of the anger could be verbalizing the violent imagery that you have without enacting the violent imagery that you have.
Okay. When she went crazy one day and started throwing books at me, I loved it. I loved it.
You loved it because you find that she suppresses her anger, and this is a welcome
because it's another flavor of her. I get to taste something else about Jane. She's not just feeding me what she thinks is what I think is politically correct. She's saying, I'm here. I'm a human being. I've got it all. And I would love to have the experience of sharing all of me with you, or as much of me as I can. Jochen, you're back in the States?
I am.
I expect to see you at Hang tomorrow night. I will drop you the link.
Great. What time is it?
7 to 9 p.m. EST.
Okay.
If you can't come, you can't come.
Yeah, I'll no, I want to come to tomorrow's one. If you have other ones during the week, I'll
Yep.
but like tomorrow I'll come because I do want to come.
Okay. Does that make sense, Brian? Intellectually?
It does. because I'm hearing what you're saying, which is yes, express your anger in ways that aren't enacting violence on other people, even though you may feel.
No, I didn't
violence.
say that. I didn't say that.
Okay.
I'm saying
Maybe I
be
put that.
clear as clear as you can about what level of physicality is okay or not.
Be clear in the relationship
Hopefully.
in which you're expressing the anger.
Yep.
And if you're feeling, as you said, you're feeling consistent anger, go see a therapist.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
I mean, why don't you want your intimate people to be helping you to be more embodied about what it is to be a human being? Why do you want people around you agreeing to the straitjackets that you're putting around yourself and them? It is safer.
It's safe. Yeah, it's safer if I think the devil's in the details here. How I have worked for and I've been around, we'll say, managers or bosses that are very angry and very unpleasant to be around and vindictive. And so that doesn't engender support. People don't like those types of leaders. I don't endeavor to be that type of leader.
You're not going to be a vindictive bastard. You're going to be an angry bastard. And I imagine the people that you're with are going to be like, I'd be angry if that happened to me too.
Okay. So there's a justified anger.
No, it's an understood anger.
An understood anger. Okay. Yeah. I'm saying justified in the case that it's understandable. There's something that happened. Oh yeah, I get it.
Yep.
It's understandable. Yeah.
Yep.
Right. If it's, I don't understand why this guy's so angry, go see a therapist. Yeah. That's very reasonable. Yeah.
Always be reasonable until you get them through the door, then you lock it behind them.
It's a good management technique. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ray, how do you relate to respect?
Respect is earned.
And what are some signifiers that you see?
For me, respect is somebody. I think respect from a unknowledgeable source is this bullshit. You know, respect from somebody else who knows the dance and is like, shit, that was something. You know, that's totally different. And I don't think the respect isn't about the person, it's about the skill set.
And at least I would say, Alton, having just come from Japan, some people may use the word respect to describe aspects of that culture. However, I would then maybe from my current understanding more use the word obedience. So
Right.
I think the word respect is very easy to misunderstand or misapply.
Right.
So when you use the word respect, what exactly did you mean by that, Alton?
I'm interested in the colloquial English definition as seen through Gray's lens.
Are you talking about personal respect or respecting boundaries, respecting rules? Because then you're talking about Jokin's definition. It's obedience.
There's like a world where when someone shows up on here and you say, oh, you X, Y, and Z, I respect that.
That's crap. That's like saying you're X, Y, and Z. I love that. You're X, Y, and Z. I hate that. Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, exactly what I recall hearing you say something about you respect X, Y, Z, or about something that they stated or some signifiers that you pointed to. And so I was wanting to learn more about your relationship.
I'm trying to tell them that I'm an educated witness and I have a story that's something that they honed over practice. I'm endeavoring to put that across.
And so I think of that, Cray, as the difference between respecting like the outcome of someone's effort versus a habit, right? Like if someone is punctual, I wouldn't use the word respect, because that is just like, I mean, unless they were totally unpunctual for like 20 years and then put in 10 years of their life to learn how to be punctual, then I can say, okay, now I respect that.
Yeah, or unless you're trying to, give them a blowjob. No. Does that make sense, Alton?
But I can totally see
No.
that other people use the word respect in the word of like, oh, I respect that, meaning like I really value that, or I enjoy it, or
I think
I
you're
do-
special.
yeah, or like, yeah, some sort of like approval, like pat on the back kind of thing.
So it's a stroke of approval.
Usually.
Specialist narrative.
Yep.
At least
Usually.
it can be it as an expression, it can be devalued that way. If I use it to just signify, let me pat you on the back, I respect that, then I think it's almost devalued that way.
I don't think I would ever use it consciously in like, I respect you as a person. I can respect what you've done, what I think you've done. I can respect the time I think it takes to master that. I can say, oh, I can respect the courage I think that took to do that. But it's never the person I'm respecting.
Okay. For the first couple, like, or for the next several like dojo containers, I want to like generate more within the house. Do you have any onboarding tips or anything else, right? For
What?
some people who are me visiting, I want to like set up a bunch of mini containers for them and run them through this work. I'll be making up the guided track thing, but I know that you have your website. But
Yeah,
my format.
engage them philosophically.
Okay.
That's the first thing to do. In the Western world, you engage their minds with 90% of the people. And then you want to give them pony ride so that they get some sort of like, oh my God. And then you want to bring the pony ride back to the philosophical so that you're hammering down, you're actually giving them an embodied experience about the positive things from using this philosophy.
Wow, beautiful.
Whenever a white belt shows up for the first night, you want to give them a sense of the difficulty, but you also want them to leave with a positive experience. Wow, I can hit somebody. Wow, I can break a board. I don't know, whatever it is. Did your head explode, Merrick?
No, I think it was like the level that you're describing.
So once in dojo, once you get past 3 speed bumps of doing the thing that your parts tell you will have your head explode, then what you're trying to do is you want to try to develop more nuances about using that to get what you want. So the first time you're just going through and you're just vomiting, or you're doing the dark thing, or you're saying the thing you can say, Norman, would you be my father? He was an abusive asshole. And I want you to say this, because this used to trigger the shit out of me. You'll never amount to anything, Merrick. And then I'm going to practice yelling at my dad the way I always wanted to, but never could. Fine. But then you want to be able to use anger or passion or heat or whatever you want it to get the things that you want in your life.
So Alton, I'm relatively unfamiliar with current drugs that are being used with like younger generations. I still grew up on alcohol, but for me, the way that I would think about this is, can I imagine being drunk without being drunk? How would I behave if I'm drunk, disinhibited? How am I disinhibited and let really just show whatever is going on? And can I do that in a container where I know other people have a safe word and all of a sudden I'm sober again? They can literally have a word that makes me sober. But other than that, I'm drunk. I can literally say whatever comes to mind.
Nice.
But I don't know if people these days use alcohol. They may use all kinds of other stuff.
You
fine.
can do the same thing, Alton. You can have everybody say, okay, this is a 3-shot exercise. Okay, we have 6 people here who aren't going to be drinking, but the exercise doesn't start until everybody's had 3 shots. See where it goes.
You were actually talking about actual. Okay. Uh-huh.
Okay.
But the lens is great. We could just say, for this next X period of time, several minutes, we just act as if we were drunk in this way. I think that sounds pretty
Yeah,
great.
but everybody's holding back. Except Norman.
You love Norman.
I do.
Totally. Norman's the golden child. How did he?
No,
how
he's
did
not
you
a
get to be
golden
such an
child.
elevated status? This is amazing. How did this happen? Is he like a protege? Like what's? I'm so curious now.
No, not at all. When he
No?
first came on, he was a talking
Yeah.
head,
Okay.
and he was very and then he decided, what the hell? And he flipped.
Flip to being embodied.
Being
Just
more
let it
embodied.
out. Yeah,
Yeah.
just let it out.
Yeah, and he's yeah. And then when one of the things that I love about him is that he's not like he's the little you can do this.
Yeah.
Try something
Katie,
different.
right?
Katie as well. Katie,
Feel
there's
feel
20
it.
more minutes of context, and you can go to breakout rooms for doing some deliberate practice exercise that Craig can infer based on how you present. And that's some of the practices from here. I imagine you may also be interested in tuning to Brian's background and what he tracks in the world too. And I'm happy to debrief afterwards because it can be intense in here.
See, this is the female version of you, Brian.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Polite, well-mannered, not a lot of facial stuff going on. Very clear that the face reveals a lot.
Yeah.
Nodding.
Oh dear.
Nice teeth. Somebody spent a lot of money on those teeth, man.
Actually, I've knocked out my front teeth twice, and my dentist
Oh.
couldn't believe it. He's like, again? So, they've been through a lot.
I know, but they look gorgeous.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks to the
Thank you
artist.
so much.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice to
Now,
be-
Doesn't like politeness.
but unlike you, Brian, she's got an edge.
Oh no, I have no other.
She's got, I mean, to me, she's like, oh, I can play this game, you idiots. I do this all the time.
I'm just here to learn.
I'm an edgeless
Oh,
blob.
yeah, you're not here to take
Very soft.
prisoners or
Very soft.
no, just learning.
That's me.
Yeah. Always
learning. Katie, what you're learning is to use your teeth, is to be a predator, is to own what you want and to try to get it.
Even the knocked out ones. Yeah.
I am learning a lot about that. So thank you for recognizing my journey.
So Brian just insulted you.
Oh,
The knocked out.
Yes. And once again, you're not paying attention.
I did. Oh.
There's a lot of things that you could talk about, but you focused on the 2 knocked
I think I
out
did.
teeth.
Me or her?
You.
I'm pointing at myself and pointing down there. What was it? It was the topic of conversation. We brought the teeth were nice. No, I had my teeth knocked out. You take a bite out of this. It's like, oh, part of the conversation. I thought it was actually pretty witty. You don't think so? That's fine. All right.
So look at her face.
Okay.
How do you think that landed?
It seems
Your
from her
bigotry.
face from her. Oh, my bigotry.
Does she look like she wants to jump in bed with you? And have
No,
wild
I
and crazy sex?
I
No,
don't
it doesn't.
But I
yeah,
didn't
like
get
in
any
that
of that
pressure.
energy. So
Oh no,
yeah,
that was
I
the whole
didn't
goal of me
receive
saying that. Now you don't want to jump in bed with me. Oh no,
Yeah.
Okay.
Now
But
he's
you
being
know-
sarcastic
totally
again.
fucking failed. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm
Okay.
glad to be here, and
The
I did
joke.
have that
Sarcastic,
energy.
I guess. Yeah.
So
Perhaps
I
there's a
didn't
negative
hear
tone
anything
to
that
it.
you said, so I missed all of it.
Oh.
But yeah, we can
That's too bad.
we can start again at the beginning. Actually,
We'll start over.
yes.
I wonder what kind of bite mark Katie would leave on Brian's forehead.
Only on the forehead?
Yeah.
Just forehead, just the teaser. Forehead, foreplay, same thing.
Baseball bat. Katie, are you open to me being somewhat? You can tell me to shut the fuck up whenever you want.
Well, actually, I would love to know what the context of everything is, because I just
There is
also
none.
sent me this link and he said, feel too free to join. Oh, practice new versions of you. Okay, cool. Thank you. It's good to know. I had no idea, but I'm glad to be here. So what types of versions of yourself are you wanting to express?
I would love to hear your version about how it feels to be disrespected continuously.
Well, I think I don't have that version in my experience, which I'm very grateful to have. And so, I mean, I can empathize with that experience. Yeah, it's not something that I usually experience
Oh.
personally.
Okay.
Yeah. I like to, I think, I mean, I do like to do the practice of immersing into different types of archetypes, but normally in a generative way that's more, it's like getting to express more boldly aspects that I want to grow upon.
And are you doing that now? Is this boldly?
I would say I do actually have a challenge of being very authentic. So it's very hard for me to put on some type of archetype other than the times I've mentioned were in immersive theater productions. So I had to have the permission to, do a ritual to step into a new type of scene.
Are you trying to step into a new thing now?
In life, yes, because I've become an
No,
entrepreneur.
on this call. On this call.
Oh, on this call.
Or you're just doing
Sure.
the same old thing.
Well,
Yeah, yes, I would have it that she was clearly taking this on. I experienced she was both she gave a great talk at Compassion 2.0, and then we spoke a couple days afterwards, and I really just had a felt sense of how much Katie's like really willing to put her life energy into this work. And this is a container where I experienced people being able to like try on very new versions of themselves. She shared how much of a transition point that she's in stepping into this new role. And I absolutely want to support her and her work, and that's what has me be here.
She's very safe for you. Yes.
Safe for me.
Yes.
What does that mean?
She's not a feminine that's going to kick you in the nuts.
I don't know, Katie, how you will receive this, but I just want to say it. Like your facial expression currently has this total Andy McDowell face for me, like from Video Lies and no Sex Video and Lies or something, Lies, Sex and Videotape or whatever.
Sex, lies, and videotape.
Yeah, that's
that
the Andy
actually reminds me, what is the recording of this being used for? Because I realized that I consented to it being recorded without knowing what scene I was stepping into. So, okay, the challenge is I actually do not really have time for like a fun game tonight, just because I have to leave for Atlanta in the morning and I have to actually finish a book chapter on ethical AI by in the next 4 hours and pack. So unfortunately I will have to go because unfortunately I would love to have met you all, but I'm realizing that perhaps the game that you guys are playing is quite different than what I have time for. So,
I agree with you.
Yeah, the intent of this container was that over the next 15 minutes, basically, is to try on different versions of us that are in service of our terminal goals that fractally we will express outside of this windows. And that's my come from. And yeah, these are weekly. I've done them for almost half a decade, and it's live streamed to Facebook and YouTube.
Oh, good. So it's not like a recorded for very long. It's not held in perpetuity.
It is.
Facebook will be around forever.
Yeah.
And there are also non-live stream versions too for more of this deeper work too. But this is like more of like top of funnel to meet people and have them introduced to this type of work. But yeah, it regularly does reach thousands of people that are also in this work, and it's made a world of a difference. But yeah, I hear that you probably wouldn't prefer this in this type of context, and I totally get it.
Yes.
And that's what the breakout rooms for you.
I have a problem with procrastination, so I've gone into a new lesson here, but I learned a lot. So thank you all. This was really interesting. And until we meet again, thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Norman, what possessed you to put that into the chat?
Pornhub?
Pornhub? Because that was the obvious answer.
Yeah, it would not have been the obvious answer for me, but like I think maybe that's why Cray likes you so much. Because
That's why you're the golden child.
your mind goes there and you just do it.
I'm just having fun.
Yeah, exactly.
But what's really cool for me is that when he presents that, his fun, quote unquote, is much more potent.
Yeah, it's not silly and childish. It's really kind of poking.
Norman, how's it to be lavished with praise? It feels like Cray is constantly pointing to you as the exemplification of what he's teaching. How does that feel to you?
Vulnerable.
Yeah, I was kind of curious about that.
Like a lot of attention, and I don't feel like I deserve it. Like I feel very far away from whatever he sees. So for me, when I receive praise from Cray specifically, I see it more like directionally I might be making progress here, is like how I see it or experience. Rather than like, you fucking plebs better learn.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Thank you for asking.
Thank you for asking us.
That was a polite thing to reply. It would make me feel the same way, I think. Yeah. I'd be like, huh, I don't think I exemplify all that much. In the cases where it's happened, not in this context. I often feel like, oh, I don't know, I don't think I am exemplifying all that much. It feels uncomfortable. So I'm just curious if that was what was happening. Sounds like it is.
I don't exemplify much. It feels uncomfortable, but I'm not changing. Okay. The most powerful part of you doesn't want to exemplify. That's the evidence. That's the evidence of your life. And you're okay with that.
The most powerful part of me doesn't want to exemplify? What do you mean? What?
The evidence of the most powerful part of your life is the evidence of your life.
The most powerful part.
It's making things happen. You may want a girlfriend, but for the last 6 years, you haven't had one. So obviously, unless you've been locked up in a cave someplace, something is making choices that are not in alignment with that desire, and they're stronger than the desire. The strongest part of your character is the evidence of your life exactly as it is right now in a patterned way.
Yeah. I agree with that.
You're such a liar, Norman.
Not lying. That's my struggle.
That's not your struggle. Again, it's like the evidence is you're not going to overcome it. This is the pattern. You're actually relaxing into the, oh, I have financial non-success. This is where Norman lives. I have a lot of reasons for doing the things that I do. And one of them is I don't have the financial resources I could have. No, you don't, Norman. You look really hot as a perpetrator. As a victim, you suck.
Oh, hi, Mark. Okay.
Thank you, Brian.
You're getting flirty, Brian.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, getting flirty in the last 10 minutes. How appropriate.
We still have time, right? For what? For some magic to happen. Yeah.
Not bloody likely.
Oh wow. Good try though.
Geez, I wonder if this is a pattern.
Which part?
Well, I noticed that the only time that you were making your mouth gestures was after the woman talked to you and expressed non-interest.
Mouth gestures?
Not something you would normally do at a board meeting.
Oh no, I do that board meeting. Yeah.
No, it explains a lot.
Does it? What does it explain?
Imagine if you're doing those faces in a board meeting. There's not the kind of board meetings that I know about. So they must be filled with people who were that they find that acceptable. And I'm like, what does that say about the company? Probably not Fortune 500.
I don't target that. I didn't target that. So yeah, it did go under. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I wonder if their toleration for facial grimacing had anything to do with that.
No, I think in my experience, the people that are very neurodivergent tend to manifest their energy in very different ways than people are accustomed to. And there's a certain amount of just accepting people as they are, which I think is helpful because then you get to access people which otherwise are not accessible.
Yeah, that's accepting people as they are. Yeah, there you go. That's what you want your fighting force to be about. That's how you want to overcome. Oh, you don't want to work overtime? Oh, okay. Oh, you have a headache today? Oh, you shouldn't work. Oh, you don't want to work because you have a headache? Okay, go home.
Well, that sounds
You
like
want to
coddling.
make facial grimacing?
Yeah.
When we're supposed to be focusing on the task at hand here, and you want to distract us with your facial grimacing? Why can't you focus up? We're in trouble here. We're about to go under, and you're sitting there taking your shirt off and dancing around the room and making facial grimaces.
Maybe that's the pathway to not go under. By being more authentic,
Evidently not.
Well,
How do you?
there are a lot of factors that would cause a company to go under, independent of facial grimacing.
I'm not saying it's the facial grimacing that does it. It's the tolerance. It's the like, this is okay. Have you ever been in the military, Brian?
Well, I was a year in ROTC.
Yeah. How'd that go?
Great. That was high speed. Yeah.
In my time in the military, if you don't have people willing to take their characters and put them aside to get the job done, the job's not going to get done.
Yeah. The military is a context. It's not the context which we all operate under.
That's
There's a lot
fine.
of hierarchy, a lot of enforced control. It leads to a certain type of ethos.
Whips and chains, Norman. Whips and chains.
How do you overcome the inertia? Whips and chains. Whips and chains.
Like make it fun and kinky.
Yep. Use carrots. You done, Merrick?
Right, you were sharing with me that you watch some of these and you'd be like laughing and like cringing and then like there's all sorts of expressions and I'm like, well, your face is really still right now. I wonder what happened.
No, I'm just listening in. Yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of juicy moments in the one that I've seen, and the ones that I've witnessed in the last few minutes have not been maybe as juicy as the ones that I have reacted to viscerally.
Norman, money is a signifier. The evidence that you're telling me is that signifier in your life is repulsive. That in your culture, to do what you need to do to get money is repulsive to your character. and you have a hill that you will die on that says, I will never make that kind of money because it's anti-Norman.
So is it as simple as just putting on a new character?
It's about reinterpreting, about getting a different kind of signified around making money. Because right now, not making money is really important to your character, given the evidence. There's nothing in you that says you can't make money, but you continuously make choices that lead to you not making money. And granted, your character tells you it likes this, it doesn't like this. But if you had children, you would be like, I don't care what I feel about making money. The kids need to eat.
Mm-hmm. That's the story around money that I.
Yes. You're not struggling with it. There's a part of you that's really fine with things exactly the way they are. You know, Merrick has a part that's like, no, why are you messing with how we dance with anger? It has served us. We're in this nice little predictable box. We're not dying. Our heads are not exploding. It works. No, it's not. It's not. It's not. If it's unknown, it's not, you can't be scared of what you don't know. That's ridiculous. It's what the quote unknown means to you. I'm going to have to work hard. I'm going to have to sell my soul. I'm going to have to do something I don't like. If your kids' lives were on, where health and wellness was on the line, you would have a very different story about making money, Norman, I think.
And I'm wondering, Norman, is it maybe that you think you don't deserve the money?
No, my character doesn't know how to make it fun. Well, we know that, Norman. That's the evidence. Merrick's character doesn't know how to punch somebody in the face when they're angry. We know that. If you're not going to win trying to change your character. You have to find something else to do. You have to make another kind of meaning making around it.
There's like a couple books that I feel like were helpful to me in that journey, Doing Good, Better, and Conscious Capitalism. But yeah, like might be interesting.
I'd rather throw you in a room with a hot babe that doesn't mind if you get angry at her and see what happens then.
Yeah, there are definitely some women that seem to get like turned on by anger that I was very surprised by, but is extremely growthful.
Growthful.
Growthful, yeah. That's what his smile is saying, yeah. It's growthful, like a Nutrimix for your plants. Now, evidently, Alton can't talk about what it's really like. That's the evidence. He's saying it's growthful. There's a lot more. That smile to me says there's a lot more going on than growthful.
Yeah, it's like a teaser trailer for my friend Marik, who I want good things for. And if he's not yet available, like aware that there's like this menu item in this menu of life.
Alton says, Merrick, do you know how hot it can get when the woman feels safe enough that you can express your anger and throw her around the room and stuff and spank her? You can actually get physically violent and they love it. Not all of them. Do you know how that makes me feel when I run across one of those and get to engage with one of them? Who cares about the rest of the world? Who cares about Bitcoin? I don't give a shit about politics. I don't care about the state of the world. When I'm in that place, it's amazing. You could have said that, Alton.
Oh, okay, that was well modeled. Thank you. I endorse this.
Stop reinforcing your character, Norman, by accepting its definitions about what making money is about. But you can't just say no. You have to come up with another way of doing it. You have to have a different philosophy about what making money is. I mean, in Dojo, it's like get a nut job. Get something that doesn't cost you a lot of chi, that you can have fun with, that you can put minimal hours in. And that's just what you do. You go there and you practice that. And you practice being okay with it. You go work as a checkout person in Walmart. And you practice being okay with it. That will kick your primal character in the ass quite severely. Okay.
Any exercise things you'd leave us with? Any like actionable things you would say, like try this on more? I'm hearing just lean into.
Yeah, let Merrick lead your next anchor workshop.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Do some anger practices.
Yeah. There's Norman with his parting shot, the last moment. He's going to pull off a doozy. I mean, when you want people, you're trying to make this fun, Alton. You're trying to get people. I mean, it looks like Merrick would be like, what? And you're like, yeah, Merrick, why don't you do that? We're going to give you 4 hours on Sunday to lead some exercises in anger. I know you don't know any, but we got a bunch of people here. Make it fun. Have people step into doing the things that they really want to do, but their public face won't let them do. Watch Jochen teach sensual massage. Yeah, exactly. First, you grease up your entire arm. You may not need it all the way down to your elbow, but you never know.
Yeah. Until you hit avocado.
Yeah.
Whenever that comes.
We're not supposed to talk to you now, right? You just evoked it. Yeah.
No, you have to use it out of context.
Out of context. Okay. Avocado.
Look, there's Brian being sarcastic at the close of business. Imagine that.
Am I being sarcastic? This is a joke. Can I joke?
All jokes have a kernel of truth.
Yeah.
All right. And it's important to look at that.
I was modeling you earlier, Craig. You were being sarcastic when you're getting to know me. I'm like, oh, this is a sarcastic place. All right, cool.
I am sarcastic without the desire to cut somebody's heart out. You, on the other hand, want to disembowel people. Yeah, going through the rib cage, I think, would be a little bit too much for you. Wanting to disembowel people and watching them die slowly in great agony. Yeah, I think that's there.
Yeah, it's there. Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
Hey.
Wait, you're saying you don't have that? Wait a minute.
I don't. Not anymore.
We're finally getting juicy. No? All right. Next time.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
I'm not interested. It's my bedtime, for God's sakes.
All right, Craig.
Thank you, Alton.
Great work. You can go.
Thank you.
All right.